My name is Tony Small. I'm the CEO of Replify. We are an AI sales and receptionist for specifically for gyms. Our mission is to really free people up to focus on people. So not just answering the phone, not just answering emails, actually working with a facility, working with people who go into the facility to make the best of that experience. Here's the agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI in general. It's very powerful, but it's not perfect. So you have to sort of like know where your line is in terms of like what you're willing to do, what you're willing to try. But there's a lot of power. And what you don't want to do is just kind of say, it's too complicated, it's too new, I want to wait for everything to happen before I start exploring it. Then I'll tell you very specifically how to get value from AI. Um, I'll tell you, we actually did a call study, a secret shopping study. We called 100 gyms across 25 companies, and we recorded the results very specifically. So we'll show what the details of that analysis are. We'll talk about what are some of the most common AI use cases, and then we'll talk about case studies and experiences that you can learn from. So again, AI is powerful. Let me just show a quick video.
Hi, my name is Tony Small, and I'm excited to present to you today at the Rex Roundtable. Now, I'll leave it to my human counterpart, the real Tony Small.
That's actually not me. That's an AI avatar of me, an AI recreation of me. I created it in about 10 minutes. And you can imagine the power of this, just being able to create a version of yourself and have it deliver any message. And the really cool thing about that is that you don't have to like learn a lot or know a lot to be able to do that. So I basically created that in like 10 minutes, start to finish. I even created an account. There was nothing new I needed to learn. It was just super straightforward. Basically took a video of you, you gave it a script, and you can have it say whatever you want. The next thing, just to give another example.
Hola, mi nombre es Tony Small y estoy emocionado de presentarme hoy en la mesa redonda Rex. Ahora se lo dejo a mi contraparte humana, el verdadero Tony Small.
So that's me speaking in Spanish. So that was also done automatically. We have a phone service where we'll answer in Spanish and English. We'll be multilingual. We'll answer whoever your customers are, whatever language they want to speak. So AI can be very powerful. But a key thing I would communicate also is that it's not perfect. This is a video. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it, but basically what this is it's kind of a funny YouTube channel where they basically have a director directing AI actors to do certain things. So let's play it.
All right, my first AI family. Let's see if you can handle this little scripted, subtle, nuanced comedy.
This script is so funny.
Love subtle comedy.
Yeah, subtle comedy's great. You guys don't need to be so close together. It looks like you're about to sing a Christmas carol. Okay, great. You guys look awesome together. Let's give it a go.
Oh no, the internet is out.
Oh, what are we gonna do?
I'm scared.
Oh, yeah. Okay, before I talk about the old X-Men thing you just did, performance-wise, not good, honestly. So it needs to be really subtle. You're just talking to each other. It's very big right now, so just tone it all down and definitely don't turn into another person on this one.
Oh no, the internet is out.
Nope, no, I don't want anyone else in the scene. And then also, still huge performance. Tone it down.
Oh no, the internet is out.
Nope, Dad has the first line. Okay, let's try it again. Don't talk over each other.
Oh no, the internet is out.
What are we gonna do? I'm scared.
No body switching, smaller performances. That's really a big thing. Smaller performances. Okay, no body switching.
Oh no, the internet is out.
What are we gonna do?
God damn it.
Oh no, the internet is out.
What are we gonna do? I'm scared.
It's okay.
Well, you got through a scene without body switching. No one else walked into the scene. The only problem was it fucking sucked. So yeah, that's going to be the biggest problem overall.
If you go at the very edge of what the AI can offer, you'll experience some challenges. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be far from it. However, if you look at where AI was really at the forefront 1 year ago, and you take those technologies, those are like pretty well baked. And you can make a lot of value and have a lot of ROI from these technologies. And just one example is just like AI phone. So if you go back 2 years ago, AI phone didn't exist, and now it does. And now it actually works really, really well, and it's very consistent. And it's something your organization, your gyms can actually take advantage of. So let me talk about how, at a high level, to get value from AI. Some of this is generalized that would apply to anything, but I'll go into why it's particularly interesting for AI right now. So again, you want to define your goals. You want to evaluate the solutions. You want to integrate and launch. And then you want to measure and improve. So that sounds pretty straightforward. The challenge is that with AI specifically, the possibilities are virtually endless. Um, there's also just too many options with a lot of far-fetched claims. You will experience and you will interact with vendors who promise everything. And then when you get into it, you realize, oh, it's actually not there. And there's actually a lot of, you know, things that need to be improved about the experience. So that's another issue. There's also just general concern, fear, limited IT resources. I mean, a lot of this just comes down to like bandwidth. Does your team have the bandwidth to take on an AI solution when just the world of AI just feels really big and complicated? And then, of course, like in the downside, what would happen is that, and this is what you might be concerned with, is that you have poor results, you have low ROI, and you have staff complaints. I was just in a session just like an hour ago where someone on the panel was asked about AI. They said, like, how was your AI experience? Like, was it ROI positive? Like, how do you measure it? And he basically said it wasn't ROI positive. Like, really haven't figured it out yet. And we're just kind of like barely breaking even. And so, there's challenges. And you'll hear people that had really good AI experiences and people that didn't. So those are some of the just real big challenges. So buying software already is hard, but buying AI software is dramatically harder. So now that I pitch you on like how to be afraid of AI, here's some things on how to address it. And as a former software buyer, that I would do. So first of all, learn from other customers. There's enough gyms and other businesses that are using these technologies. Talk to them, lean on them, share best practices, learn what went well, what didn't. Be skeptical, but be open. Pilot with different locations. It's super common for us when we engage a gym franchise that has, 10, 50, 100 locations, they want to start with a few. And we're very open to that. And if you talk to an AI vendor that says it's all or nothing, be highly skeptical because maybe they just want to get it in everywhere and sort of that's harder to like rip out. Start simple, avoid contracts if you can. And then just be flexible across locations and adjust and expand quickly. And then general meta point here is that don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Like don't not choose something because it's not going to be 100% perfect like on day one. Nothing ever is. But you can still achieve dramatic high ROI if you deploy it in the right way, in a right sort of systematic format. So let me tell you about this like data study that we did. So we secretly shopped 105 gyms across 30 different businesses. And we called them during open hours, and then we fully documented the results. We called each one, we pretended we were a prospective member, we asked them what their pricing was, we asked them what their hours were, and then we hung up, and then we basically went away. That's basically the experience that we did. So the results were really interesting. So first of all, again, this is on the phone experience. So who or what actually answered the phone? So as you can see from these results, 31% went to a live person, 28% went to voicemail, 38% went to a phone tree, and from there some went to a live person and some went to like kind of nowhere. And then 3% it was just absolutely no answer. So that was really interesting. And just from my perspective, it feels like having a phone tree at this point is a little bit like having a fax machine or requiring you like send a cancellation form via fax. It just really is like so far from where we are in today's modernity. Like if people call and that's the experience they get, you're already setting not a great foot forward. The next thing is, could we reach a live person at all? So whether it's through a phone tree or then we got someone picked up live right away, this was the question. So 61% of the time we did, 39% of the time we didn't. Now, 61% might seem good, I guess, maybe. But then the next question is, how long did it take us to actually reach a live person? So when we timed it from when you hear that first ring to when you actually were able to talk to someone and ask them a question, it took an average of 50 seconds. So now you might think 50 seconds, that's not a big deal. That was 25 seconds. That's half the time that most gyms are expecting your consumers to wait to talk to anyone, to get any question answered. It's totally unacceptable. Maybe it was acceptable 10 years ago or something, but now when people are like, I'm hearing that third ring, I'm on a voicemail, okay, now I'm gonna go on Instagram, now I'm gonna go on on TikTok, and I just forgot what I'm even asking for. I don't really want to work out now. You just need to get to people right away. So then another problem, did they ask qualifying questions? 33% did, and 67% didn't. And if you imagine this is like a hot lead. You're getting someone on the phone that's saying like, hey, I'm interested in the gym. Like, can I join? Or like, what is the pricing? But the reality is, and it's not the fault of people working at the front desk of a gym. When you're working at the front desk of the gym, you have like 10 other jobs you're doing. You're trying to like clean equipment, help people that are walking through the door, dealing with like 10 other issues going on with the location. The chances that they're going to like record it, answer it, and make sure to ask the follow-up questions, and when they have like 5 of the things they need to do, is actually pretty low. And that's what we found in the actual results. So did they invite us for a visit or tour? Very similar here. So 33% did, 67% didn't. So about a third of the people like were actually pretty good salespeople, and they were engaging us and like talking to us about it and selling us. But then here's the kicker for it. You guys, everyone probably in this room has a sense of if someone fills out a lead form on your site, like whether it's a free trial or a membership, etc., it probably goes into your system, and then you probably send them an email campaign and a texting campaign, and it's in your CRM, and someone's following up. So almost all gyms at this point are pretty good about following up when someone submits a form. But what about when someone calls? Here's the experience. 12% out of the 100% actually did any follow-up. So basically, these are hot leads, people really interested in the gym. They probably called your gym and 3 other gyms in the area, and then no one followed up with them. That was the experience the vast majority of the time. So just in summary of this experiment we did, calling 105 gyms, most experiences were not ideal. The wait was usually too long, and only 12% followed up to really sell or close us. So that's a very common experience. And if you take that problem, this is something that AI is really good at. And so if you're thinking about like, how do I first deploy AI and how do I really use it? This is like a really good example of a low-hanging fruit that you can solve really well. Talking about that solution a little more specifically. So AI for inbound inquiries to protect staff time. So you're doing a few things here. Not only are you helping convert prospective members, but you're also supporting current members. So whether they're answering the same question again and again, you're getting information into your CRM. So then a salesperson or AI even could follow up with them. And then you're also securing in-person tours. So you can automate a lot of this experience. And at the same time, every time you automate something, you're freeing the front staff from actually make your gym better. Whether that's taking care of equipment, taking care of members, answering questions live. One of our customers actually said like their biggest pet peeve is when they secret shop. So they're an owner of like 20 locations. They'll go into one of their locations and want to see how it's going, and the front desk won't make eye contact because they're on the phone. And because they're on the phone or they're like typing some email or doing some virtual work. And so you can basically solve a lot of that through a smart application of AI. Outbound is another example of something that might be interesting. So outbound is really interesting. We actually don't recommend it in some cases. I'll talk about what I don't recommend it in right now. So if you have a list of customers who you have or prospects you have no relationship with, and you just want to cold call them, it's not going to work. If you try cold calling using AI, it's not going to work. We've experimented with it, and just the technology just isn't quite there. As smart and as good as AI sounds today, it's not the same as like a salesperson calling and just really pitching in that sort of like really super fluid, quick tone that you would need to do in terms of like making a cold call. However, there are ways in which outbound does work, and we've done this with a lot of customers, and it works really well. So for instance, sales follow-up, if someone actually does submit a lead form and it's off hours and you want to communicate to actually get them booked in a tour, that's an example. Billing and collections is a very common one. You could say like, "Hi, John, looks like you're $50 past due. Can I connect you to the billing department to actually get that resolved?" Instead of having someone on staff not cold call, but call like 200 people and hopefully a few answer. Member retention and win backs. Again, you already have a relationship with these people. And then announcements and upgrades, especially for like existing clients. If you want to get the word out and you don't want to just rely on email and text, if you want to do email, text, and phone, AI is a really good solution for that. So let me play an AI call from Gold's Gym, just to give you a sense of how this actually sounds.
Hi, I'm the AI assistant for Gold's Gym. Note this call is being recorded. Yo también hablo español. What's your first and last name?
Lisa Smith?
Great, Lisa. Are you currently a member of Gold's Gym?
No, I wanted to get your hours.
Sure. We're open 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. weekends. Would you like to try Gold's Gym with a free pass?
Yes, that would be great.
Perfect. May I send the free pass link to you via text after this call?
Yes.
Got it. I'll send the link shortly. Anything else I can assist you with?
I wanted to know what classes you provide at this location.
We offer strength training, yoga, cardio, Zumba, and body pump classes for all fitness levels. Anything else you'd like to know?
Is there an extra charge for those classes?
No extra charge. Classes are included in the membership. Anything else I can help with?
No, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day, Lisa. Enjoy your free pass.
So that's just an example of a real live call with one of our real live customers. We actually have Chris. Chris, raise your hand. He's our main contact at Gold's Gym DC, and he's just been a great partner. And so that's actually his gym that you just heard that call from. So I often get this question of how do people interact with AI? And that's an example. The person actually interacted in a pretty fluid, normal human way. We actually see it roughly. We get 10,000 calls a day, so we just have a lot of data in terms of how these calls actually go. It sort of falls into 3 categories. One is some people will just not want to talk to AI. I'm not going to say that's not true. Like about a third of the time, 25% of the time, if you say you're an AI assistant, they'll say customer support, live person, operator, get me the hell out of here. I don't want to talk to you. And sometimes they'll be really rude and we don't take offense. We don't really care. And so for those examples, you just want to do a live transfer and that's fine. And then another 30%, it's kind of funny, even though we're talking like very human-like, they will talk to us like a robot. So they'll just say like, membership, free trial, so they'll actually talk to us like a robot because they sort of know we're a robot, even though we're talking like a human. So that's like another third. And then another third, they just have a normal conversation. We think we're very transparent about that we're AI, but sometimes people, just have that different experience. About the company and the product and what we do. So we do a lot of what we're talking about here. So we have omni-channel capability. So we support AI over phone, text, email, and chat. We're bidirectional, so we can do inbound and outbound. We're really good with multiple locations. So we really optimized our solution around handling 5, 10, 50, 100, 200, 500 locations. So just in terms of being able to manage it, be able to make edits to one thing and have it apply to all locations, all of our reporting, it's really optimized to managing a lot of locations. Integrations, this really, one of our secret powers, especially with my co-founder and I, we come from the CRM space. We're deeply technical. So if you need to figure out how to integrate this into your CRM, which you should, we can help you do that. In reality, as long as your CRM has APIs, we can figure out how to get it into your CRM. And in terms of just give you 2 examples of how this actually works is when you have a phone call or you send out a text campaign, you get a response. What you want is for us to actually put that conversation into your CRM under the right person. And if the person doesn't exist, we will create the person and then put it under them as a new lead, for example. Another example is we can do calendaring and scheduling. So if someone wants to call, book a PT or book a live tour, we can do that also and then put it in the calendar at the right time. Automatic lead capture, we covered this. Live transfers when the staff is around. So you can actually define live transfers and have it say like, between these hours, do a live transfer, and between these hours, just explain like our staff isn't currently staffed. Can I help you, or take a message? Just a quick product overview. So this is our dashboard. So it shows just like a lot of information, shows the total conversations, live transfers, shows it by location. This is like an example of our phone settings. It's, we actually have up to 40 different voices to choose from. We also support a lot of international voices. We have customers in Australia and Canada and the UK as well. And we also support multilingual. You heard in the example, it said, I speak Spanish, and it said it in Spanish. So we're multilingual in that if someone responds in Spanish, we will reply back in Spanish. And we support over 20 different languages. So again, we have a lot of case studies, a lot of proven results. These are just some of our clients. To go over just like some of these case studies. So with Club 24, there's kind of like two areas in which we see ROI. It's not only in saved staff time, it's usually primarily around creating a much better experience for basically the patrons of your gym, the members of your gym, and the staff. We basically make it so that your staff doesn't have to do the things they don't want to do. This is just one of our case studies. I'll let Val speak for a bit.
I'm Val Nepomuceno, so I've been with Club 24 for the last 10 years now. So I oversee all locations. I'm in charge of sales, retention, billings, building maintenance, and also every single system that we also use. So I'm making sure that our gyms are producing high sales experience with the members and all that. And that's kind of where I tie in with my role. We talked to a lot of different AI companies. We looked at obviously a bunch of demos. We tried other products as well. The first thing that kind of drew us with Replify was the customer service. That's important to us, especially for a hands-on business, small business like us. Having that customer support is very important. And also making sure that, one, we were able to utilize it with all 7 gyms too. How easy of use was it? Replify obviously handles all our hours, holiday hours, any pricing basics, what's going on right now, what promotions, any general information. Hey, I'm stuck outside the door. How do I get in? Questions, right? After hour questions, automations calls. That was the first outbound calling that we experimented with. It was about 20 hours a month in each locations that our staff was making past due calls, texting, and emailing. We just one day just started uploading into Replify. So that saved us hours on that. So now anytime a gym gets automated on the past due calls, our phones light up for people updating their billing. So with all the inbound call that we're getting, we're saving about over 400 hours a month with all 7 gyms combined in staff hours. So we went crazy for Black Friday. So Black Friday, we made over 3,600 calls with all 7 locations during the span of 5 days. Just get in it, try it. Let it save you some time. Maybe money as well. Focus on the things that are going to make you more return on your investment.
Dynamic Fitness is another one.
I'm Ryan Insman. I'm the director of marketing at Dynamic Fitness. We're a 3-location box gym out in Houston, Texas. So we first looked at Replify as a way to handle our inbound calls and really filter like who actually needed help capture leads. Biggest thing is just lead generation. I mean, we run a pretty clean sales process in our club. So really our biggest game is trying to capture any lead that's trying to engage with us. So just like the volume that we've increased in our lead gen, it has translated to increases in sales. And I mean, it's all people that were contacting us to begin with. It's all inquiries that are driven from our paid marketing. So just knowing that those dollars aren't getting wasted, are now getting captured and converted. One of the biggest things that I think it can do that is most impactful for the business is handling the customer service. That's not only ensuring a consistent, great experience for your members and prospects, but it's also alleviating additional work from your team so that they can focus on delivering a better experience, keeping the clubs clean, engaging with your members. So having a team like Replify there to really help set it up, get it going, just with how easy it is. Like, it's easy to take the first step, is what I'm saying.
My name is Chris Prevett. I'm the VP of Sales and Operations for Gold's Gym DC Metro. We are our 20-unit franchise group for Gold's Gym here in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia market. We're knocking on the door about 50,000 members through the DMV. We went from 150, 200 leads in totality for the clubs that are coming in just off those calls to north of 1,000. So we're averaging anywhere from 80 to 100 leads per location just off the phones on what's being missed. So that, then you look at a return on those, it's very quantifiable. And so we needed our GMs touching our guests and touching our members. We wanted them out of the office. And one of the things we have since the time we took over this franchise group we still do it currently each and every day. We had calls this morning about it, is how can we automate things to get them out of the office, to give them their time back, whether it's contact emails, these type of things, to give them their day to get out and impact. And this has done that, right? So the phone calls coming into the gym are being answered and getting good specific answers, eliminating phone calls coming in, eliminating some of those processes by automation, whether it's even follow-up. I've got follow-up, I've got text messages, I got emails, and now we've got phone calls going out with consistency, with the message that I'm tweaking as needed and I learn from. So, the great thing that now the GM can be upfront with the guests that are checking in and the members that are checking in. They're out on the floor. They're supporting our personal trainers. They're supporting our front desk staff to make sure that we are what we call clean, crisp, and friendly as a business and operating at a cruising altitude that we expect.
So Chris, would you mind just talking a little bit about your experience with us?
I think the biggest thing is that they're a partner. Very similar to Val. I have 19, I'm a franchise group, and we have 19 locations in the DMV. And in 2024, I started vetting a bunch of AI companies, and we landed with a big company, and I won't get into their name, but we did another company and Replify, 5 groups at 5 clubs each. And it was night and day, the customer service we got with them. They were a true partner. And the 2 companies I landed on were about the only ones that could speak my language, which their background in CRM management, Salesforce essentially, had them able to speak my language, which was good for me being able to build out what I wanted to do. So the first thing we hit was inbound. And the difference between them and the other group was we were hand-braided within a week. And the one thing I would say is use AI like an employee. You got to learn from it and you want to train it. So it's not a set it, forget it. So that video you saw was actually an old video. We are actually instead of them trying to push the lead, you call one of my locations right now, it's sending the JLL right to them. And we're seeing conversion off those TIs over here. So, and then also for the employees, when people are calling in, somebody will say, what are your hours? Do you have body pump classes or whatever the case may be? You want to train an employee to say, are you a member? Well, that never happens. They just answer the question. The first thing hangs up and moves on, right? So we were averaging, I think fully, what was it? We were probably averaging less than 10 TI leads, even at big locations per month for the whole club. And now some locations we're 150, 200 leads that we're just getting off inbound. The other thing that we've done is our outbound campaigns, we use them a little bit differently too as well. So we'll have promotional things that we do, and we have a agent that we build out that I worked with Anna that I'll tweak the knowledge of that agent for a specific promotion. And then we'll go after that promotion with a lead set for conversion, whether it's showing up like we just did grand opening in one of our locations in DC, and it drove 10 memberships for us for just that day that I could specifically correlate just because of that AI. The last thing that, I don't know if you had it on there, but the team member support one, this was them being a partner and me just throwing ideas during our calls, which they're such good sports. Because my brain's spinning all the time, so we have these rolling calls, and I'm always throwing these ideas at them to see, if this is something we can do. So now, in every one of our gyms on the desktops, they have a live agent that's employee-facing. It's got our handbook. It's got every question your employee would think of, like how do you cancel a member, how do you change billing, any handbook question from an HR question, whether it's a GM to a new team member that's opening the gym at 5 a.m. and they're the only one in the building. That has been unbelievable. Plus you learn from it. So you can see what your employees are asking that you'd be surprised. And then you can kind of obviously see, hey, we can tell which GMs are really engaged and which ones aren't, and obviously where we need to step up as a company to kind of help support. So, well, thanks, man.
You know, when we go into a relationship, we want to understand what your ROI is, how you're measuring it, and to make sure it's realistic. We've had customers that come to us that want to achieve this, and we just together look at it and be like, that's not probably going to work. And we're going to be very open and transparent about that. A flexible approach. So again, like Chris said, like if you have different ideas, if you want to implement it a certain way, if you want to integrate with your CRM in a certain way, let us know and we can work with you on that. Speed, we're kind of really fast. So we're super responsive. So we're if you email, what I joke with the team is that if you email us and you don't get a response within 24 hours, like call the authorities because there's something really going on. But we respond like during business hours really quickly. We respond over the weekends. We're just really on top of everything. And again, no long-term contracts. So we just really believe that we'll deliver value very quickly. And if we don't, then, you know, no harm, no foul, but we believe we will. And then you'll continue with us, not through handcuffs, but just because you want to. And then the other thing that's important is your salesperson is your account manager. I have a lot of experience. I've managed sales teams and account management teams that are like hundreds of people large. One of the biggest issues we often found is that a salesperson will sell you this, and then it goes to an account manager, and the account manager will say, "What did he talk about? I don't know what I don't know anything what he's saying, and I'm confused, and now you're confused, etc." The person who sells you on Replify will also manage your account. And it's not just manage your account, meaning taking your credit card when you want to buy more. It means actually implementing your account, helping you with it, like actually getting it set up end to end, onboarded and set up in the right way. So, and the nice thing about that is just from like a CEO perspective, like I know people are selling the right way, because if you don't sell in the right way, you're going to feel it very soon thereafter. Last slide, again, just reiterating some of the things here. If you have 10 or more locations, just to give you this offer, we will also do a free secret shopping analysis of your clubs and also create you a free account so you can try and experiment it with yourself. So we'll actually call your clubs, to each of your 10 clubs or more, twice. We'll record the results and we'll share those results for you if you're interested in that. If you want to get started, just email me or drop by the booth. And yeah, that's basically it. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
I think a solution that we are continuing to miss is how to handle closed facilities. So you can account for hours, right? Holidays are coming up. We can prompt the agent for that. But how do you handle bad weather, the power's out, and how does the club handle that?
Yeah, so how do we handle like when the gym is closed and that kind of issue? It's actually a really good use case for us. So this actually happened yesterday. So a UFC gym that's located in Hawaii, basically their power went out, you know, totally unexpected. And so basically all they needed to do, it takes literally, like you could time it, it takes 10 seconds. You go into your account, you adjust the phone introduction for that recording, and you basically say like, oh, we're currently closed due to power outage. We expect to be open at X. You click save and then it's done. So it literally takes like 10 seconds to do. We are looking at ways to sort of more integrate with like some live data that would show if gyms are open or closed. But just overall, one thing I would say is that like when we had the big snowstorms in late January, a lot of gyms across the East Coast were just like closed and, you know, really chaotic. Our call volume went up by 4x in those days. And the reason why is because people just call and they're like, are you open? Are you open? Are you open? They don't trust the website. They just want to know, are you open? And if you don't have a system like this, you know, it just becomes really hard. And by the way, you can also add not only to the phone intro, but you can just add a quick note to the knowledge base saying like, this is why we're closed. This is what we're doing. This is when we expect to open and stuff like that.
I know there's a lot of questions around transfer rates. I've talked today about inbound calls. Has there been any data yet for like a gold standard of transfer rate? What should your transfer rate be?
Like a live transfer to a live person? You know, it ranges from 30 to 70% for our existing clients. The 30% like on the low side, and there's not really like an ideal one. It's really sort of depends on how you want to manage it. On the low side, when it's like as low as 30%, usually what we do when someone says like, human, I want to talk to an operator, we just ask what their issue is, you know, and that will help with a soft transfer. And then there's a good chance we can actually help address it if they just give us a chance. For some companies that don't want to provide any barrier to someone getting to a live person, as soon as they say human or operator or customer support, we just like live transfer them right away. So it really just ranges depending on what you want.
So in your database, even though we have an existing database, there's a lot of problems nowadays connecting with individuals. Verizon, AT&T has spam blockers. Are you seeing you guys found a solution for that?
Yeah, we do a lot in this area. Now, I'd say like there's sort of like 3 levels of it. One is the ideal scenario is it says your caller ID correctly. So it'll say Gold's Gym is calling. The second one is it doesn't say Gold's Gym, but it just shows the number. And the third one you really just want to avoid where it says spam likely or something like that. So we go through there's like a 10 DLC process that we go through for you on your behalf with the wireless carriers and our providers to basically, as much as possible, get it up into that caller ID working one. And then if not in that second one, there's a number of internal and forms that we fill out on your behalf to basically reduce the likelihood of that.
How often are you releasing updates?
So we release updates like every other week. So we launch new features, new functionality every other week. And so like the thing that's coming out soon again is that soft transfer functionality, which a lot of our customers are really excited by.
How long it takes to integrate with this tool in our system?
Yeah, how long does it take to integrate the tool in the system? It can be as little as 2 days. It could be long as a few weeks. It really depends. The 2 big things that usually have to happen is that, first of all, we just have to integrate with your CRM. If they have straightforward APIs or we've already worked with them, like for instance, we worked with tons of implementations across like ABC Fitness, HubSpot, GleanTap. There's a lot of systems, Explore. There's a lot of systems we've already integrated with. So then it's like we can just do it within 24 hours. The only other thing that you have to do that takes a little bit of time is just really have your knowledge base set up. And so we can read PDFs you already have. We can read your website. We can integrate things that way. But sometimes gyms want to take a little bit more time of sort of saying like, get a group of people, look at all the knowledge, make sure it's right, make sure it's as good as you want. We do operate in Spain, but we don't do texting in Spain. So different countries have like different regulations based on sort of like the suppliers that we have. So we can actually do a calling service or an inbound call service. But like in the example that you saw from Gold's Gym, we offered to send a follow-up text after the call. We couldn't do that in Spain, for example. At least not yet. Yeah.
Is there a common denominator on like the operator side that you would say leads to a successful launch?
The common denominator, I mean, I think there's sort of like just an openness to new technology, an openness to trying like something new and different, and they're sort of generally excited by it. So, I mean, I think most of our customers sort of fall into that category. So, but that's what we've seen work really well. And yeah, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.